Section 10.1.1 Symmetric Encryption Part 2. The symmetric key has three synonyms: PSK or pre-shared key, secret key encryption, and private key encryption. Symmetric means there is just one key for both encrypting and decrypting messages. In this case, Alice has a plain text message that she encrypts with the key encryption. She sends the encrypted message to Bob, who decrypts it with the same key. The AES 256 algorithm became the new government standard in 2001 after a competition sponsored by the National Institute of Science and Technology, or NIST, and is still the standard today for symmetric encryption. As computers become exponentially more powerful, the AES 256 may become vulnerable to attacks. NIST is already investigating new encryption technologies, such as quantum cryptography. Here's a bit of trivia for you. Trying to regulate 256-bit technology by classifying it as munitions actually backfired on the US government. Initially, companies tried to create two versions of their devices or software, one with 256-bit encryption and one with just 56-bit encryption. But this quickly became impractical as multinational corporations struggled with owning multiple versions or controlling where the 256-bit versions were used. To avoid several legal consequences, the corporations defaulted to buying or using the weaker versions, and in the meantime, the 256-bit version was quickly being illegally leaked into global markets. The U.S. government acknowledged that the policy was putting U.S. corporations in a bad position and increased their data risk. The restriction was lifted in 2000. In a previous unit, we talked about the states of data at rest, in transit, and in use, and how this can affect the CIA of data. When traveling with a device, an extra twist of risk to your data is added. Consider that most borders invoke the right to inspect any and all persons and belongings, including data on devices. This applies at U.S. borders, even for U.S. citizens. The border guard can take your device, browse through it, copy the data off of it for later inspection, or even just seize it. Whenever someone has physical access to your computer, they can easily access your data. They might remove the hard drive, attach it to the computer, copy the data, and then put the hard drive back. They might put a keylogger on your computer or remote access software. Normally, you control the office or home space where your computer is located. But when traveling, your computer can be left in a hotel room or in a guest office space where someone can more easily get access to it. We refer to this as the evil maid attack because a hacker can get physical access to your device while you are not around while traveling. A large number of laptops and mobile devices are also lost every year by travelers. Lost from forgetfulness, like when getting out of a taxi, or lost from theft, like at a coffee shop or other locations where it can be stolen from. A best practice solution to travel risk is full disk encryption, or FDE, which is based on public key encryption. When FDE is set up, the private key is password protected with a user-created password. When the computer is turned off, all contents are encrypted. When the computer is turned on, the contents are encrypted until the user enters the password. This releases the private key into memory, and decrypts the drive contents so that it can be used. FDE is often used on laptops or mobile devices to secure data in case of loss or theft. This means, however, that when your computer is powered on and unlocked, whomever is sitting at it has access to all your files and data, unencumbered by encryption. So if you want your disk encryption to work at its full potential, you need to lock your screen when your computer is going to be on while you're away. And for those times when you forget to lock it, you need to set it to lock automatically after, say, 10 minutes of idling. Using FDE, screen lock will encrypt the data, but you have to use it every time you step away from your device. Trusted Platform Module, or TPM, is a hardware-based cryptographic chip installed on the motherboard. When using FDE software, the TPM will generate the encryption keys and keep part of the key. So if you're using BitLocker encryption or device encryption on a computer with the TPM, part of the key is stored in the TPM itself rather than just on the disk. That means if the attacker steals your hard drive out of your computer and extracts your passwords from memory, then he will still be out of luck. When he attaches your hard drive to a new computer and attempts to decrypt it, the key will not work because part of it is stored in the TPM left behind on the hacked computer. This comes pre-installed on most government and business computers. Many full disk encryption applications require TPM to be installed on the devices they are used on. Your best practice is to use a computer with TPM and FDE and always keep your screen locked when not sitting directly at your computer. Let's summarize the different attacks that can target encryption. Key interception is the overwhelming weakness of secret key encryption. The hacker is essentially saying, "I have your key." If your key space is too small, then I will attempt to crack it by trying all iterations of the possible key. The hacker will use brute force to decrypt your key. If your encryption reuses keys, then I can try to capture a lot of encrypted data and look for repeats or patterns that might signal a way to crack the key. This also is known as plain text, because even if a small portion of the ciphertext is known in plain text, then the message can be decrypted. There is a short clip you will watch next from Imitation Game, the movie, that shows how a piece of known plain text was one of the keys to breaking the Enigma code.